do you see us as being out of the woods? Because in the annual economic review as well, one of the key messages was regarding the negative implications of backtracking from implemented and planned critical reforms causing instability. So do you see us as being out of the woods?
Okay. So I have a reputation to being an alarmist, and I'm going to stick by my reputation. Before I came, I looked up something I had read some time ago. There is a report from the IMF in 2016 on repeat defaulters. 58% of emerging market economies that defaulted default again. Right? 4 times they restructure. The average period between default is 3 years. Right? So let's hope we are not in that 58. And this study was from 1978 to 2010. The paper was written in 2016. Now come 2024, maybe things have changed, but the odds are against us not to default. Now the problem is that at the height, my understanding, and I'm subject to correction, the public debt to GDP was 128%. From what I read in the annual report, it's 117 or 118. These numbers keep moving up and down because the currency has kept moving. What you have is very high debt and very high real interest rates. Right? Inflation is hovering at 2-3%. Our nominal interest rates are 11-12%. I think the average on the total domestic debt is about 10 or 11. So you have very high interest rates, real interest rates, which will dissuade consumption, and it will dissuade investment, which will then suppress aggregate demand. Now, if we meddle, basically, or experiment, or look for alternate models, etc., when you have such high real interest rates, you are not going to, the only way we can avoid a second default is by growing, right? And I don't think we can grow by investing a large amount of capital. So the only lever that we have is productivity. Right? And we have notoriously, if you look at the Asian productivity organizations, total factor productivity analysis of most of the South Asian countries, it's very low, it's almost zero or negative. So most of the growth has come through factor accumulation. They have benefited from demographic transitions, which we don't have. So you have a problem basically of growing this economy without excessive factor accumulation, because you have a fiscal primary balance surplus target of 0.7. We had to go to 2.3, which means that the fiscal multiplier is going to be contractionary, right? So the government can't stimulate. So you got to get the rest of the economy to grow. And the only way you can grow is driving up productivity, right? You're doing more with less. And the only way you can increase productivity basically is to fully implement, in my opinion, the market system and a lot of competition. So going forward, basically, we just have zero room to experiment. We have to build on what we did. There is no regressing. So Sri Lankan elections, I know the politicians basically, unfortunately, they're all demigods, right? They all play to the gallery. So let's hope that what utterances they're making is not what they do. So they can say what they want to get into power, but what matters is what they do. And therefore, my answer to your question is we have gone through a stabilization program. We have a long way ahead of us. We have to put the necessary changes, policy changes, and build the institutions and keep on strengthening them. And we have no room to experiment.